Welcome, Starfinders, to Starfinder Week. My name is Cody. This is Taking20, a channel about all things role-playing games. And today we're continuing our coverage of Starfinder's classes by taking a closer look at the Mystic. So, I hope you guys are ready. Let's get started. Okay guys, so before we jump in and talk about the Mystic, I want to give a big thank you to my sponsor here for Starfinder Week, Miniature Market. Miniature Market has been my go-to since I discovered them a few years ago, and I highly recommend them to all gamers. Miniature Market carries thousands of games at discounted prices, so whether you're into X-Wing, 40K, Magic the Gathering, Settlers of Catan, Dungeons & Dragons, or if you're just looking for a place to snag some minis for your table, Miniature Market has got you covered. And of course, if you guys want to snag some serious discounts on the full Starfinder lineup, be sure to check out the link down in the description below. It'll take you guys right to everything Starfinder, and it'll let Miniature Market know that I sent you over. What exactly is the Mystic? Well, if I had to liken the Mystic to a classic RPG class, I would have to say it's a bit of a hybrid between the Cleric and the Druid. A Mystic could be a seeker of knowledge of the universe, traveling through the cosmos to find meaning in their lives. Or they could be a space zoologist that has tapped into the force that connects all things and fights to protect that living connection. Or they could be a broken wanderer that has sold their soul to an unknown entity, something that they don't quite understand or see, but that they still feel subtly guiding them. The one thing that all mystics share, though, is their ability to tap into unseen power that is far too complex to be perfectly understood by science. Okay, so let's take a look at the numbers. To start us off, we see that the Mystic receives a solid 6 hit points and 6 points of stamina per level. They are a 3/4 base attack bonus class and only receive full save progression in will saves. Their key ability score is Wisdom, and they'll probably also place a premium on Constitution, though Charisma will also increase their abundant social skills. Otherwise, Dexterity is a pretty solid choice, as it typically is in Starfinder, to help improve their AC and their ability to use their small arms. Speaking of skills, they receive a respectable 6 skill ranks per level and have a sizable 12 class skills, which are Bluff, Culture, Diplomacy, Disguise, Intimidate, Life Science, Medicine, Mysticism, Perception, Profession, Sense Motive, and Survival. Something interesting about that list is that every single skill on the Mystic's class skill list is a mental skill. Now, that's not quite that strange, as there are really only 5 skills in the game that utilize either Dexterity or Strength. But it does seem to provide the Mystic with a bit more versatility in which of those mental skills that they want to specialize in. The Mystic also receives proficiency in light armor, basic melee weapons, and small arms. Now, the Mystic is one of only 2 classes that are full spellcasters, with the other being the Technomancer. They receive access to 1st and 0 level spells at 1st level, and gradually gain higher level spells as they hit levels 4, 7, 10, 13, and 16, capping out at 6th level spells. At each level, you'll have a limited amount of spell slots that you will use to cast your spells with. This determines the number of times you may cast spells for each of the listed levels. In addition to these spell slots, if your Wisdom score is high enough, you may be granted additional spell slots. Again, this is just the number of times per day you can cast a spell, and not the number of different spells that you know, which is listed on page 84 of the core rulebook. Because of the Mystic's ability to use magic and cast spells, they may also, as a full action, identify any spells encoded in a spell gem. And this will only trigger the magic if it is trapped or cursed. Okay, let's talk about the main class feature for the Mystic. That is the Connection. The Connection is a mysterious bond with some kind of force that grants you magical abilities. This is gained at level 1 and can't be changed once it has been selected. Most Mystics serve some kind of deity and, as such, receive a connection that is typically closely tied to the deity's beliefs. However, you are not technically tied down to a particular connection just because it's what your deity prefers, which I think could lead to some fun, challenging roleplay if you go with something that is outside of your deity's portfolio. Your choice of connection will have the biggest impact on your Mystic, and it will affect your connection powers, your connection spells, and channel skills. First up, your connection grants you certain abilities called connection powers. So at first, third, and then every 3 levels thereafter, you gain a new power that is unique to your chosen connection. And secondly is your connection spells. These are bonus spells that will be added to your spells known list, and as such, they don't count against your total number of spells known. I'll talk more about connections here in just a bit, but for now, let's look at some of the other class features for the Mystic. At level 1, you pick up something called Healing Touch, which gives you a pool of healing power equal to 5 times your Mystic level. Using this pool of healing on an ally does require 10 minutes, which means that you'll only be able to use it during periods of rest or downtime. This ability can also only be used once per day, so my advice is to use it really wisely and make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck whenever you do decide to blow through your Healing Touch. At level 2, the Mystic gets Channel Skill and Mind Link. So Channel Skill simply gives you an insight bonus that continues to increase as you level to the 2 correlating skills from your chosen connection. And Mind Link gives you the ability to use the spell Mind Link as a spell-like ability once per day. At 3rd level, the Mystic picks up Weapon Specialization as a class feature, and at 11th level, the Mystic gains Telepathic Bond, allowing you as a standard action to create a telepathic link between you and 6 other willing creatures. This allows you to use the spell Telepathic Bond as a spell-like ability, but with a very notable change. Its duration is permanent. However, you can only have 1 bond set up at a time, and if you create a new one, the old bond will end instantaneously. This is an incredibly powerful ability, and one that frankly, I'm a little surprised comes at such a low level. When this bond is formed, all creatures in this bond can communicate telepathically from any distance as long as they are on the same plane. Honestly, I'm not sure that this is not just too powerful here, but I guess time will tell. At level 19, Mystics pick up Transcendence. This has a few different abilities and they have a lot of nuance to them. First off, Transcendence allows you to cast each of your connection spells once per day without using a spell slot to do so, which I think is a very solid ability on its own. However, that's not all Transcendence does. In addition, you gain the ability to transcend your physical body in the form of an intangible psychic embodiment of yourself. For the purposes of in-game mechanics, you are counted as a 6th level illusion effect that lasts for a number of rounds equal to your Mystic level. You control this psychic illusion as if it were your own body, and in this form you have a fly speed of 60 feet, and your senses perceive only what the psychic illusion can see and hear. And some of the other cool benefits to being a space ghost is that you can phase through solid objects and even still cast your spells or spell-like abilities, including spells like Flesh to Stone, which affect their targets normally. There are some stipulations, such as you can't end your movement inside of a wall, etc., but overall you should find plenty of creative uses for Transcendence. And finally, the Mystic's capstone is Enlightenment. Much like a cleric or paladin would become an avatar of their deity, you become a living embodiment of your connection. You will no longer age or die due to aging, and once per day you can enter into a state of complete communion with your connection. While in this state, you'll gain a +4 insight bonus to attack rolls, saving throws, skill checks, and are granted 20 resolve points to spend on your connection powers. Yes, you get 20 extra resolve points. Oh yeah, and before I forget, you also get to cast Miracle for free every week. Okay, so now let's dive into the connections for the Mystic. In total, there are 8 connections to choose from, and regardless of which connection you choose, each will grant you new abilities at level 1, level 3, and then every 3rd level thereafter, along with additional connection spells known and a pair of correlating skills that benefit from your channel skill feature. First up, we have the Akashic connection. The Akashic connects your Mystic with an astral library known as the Akashic Record. This database holds the collective knowledge of every sentient species that has ever existed, gifting you with a psychic link of every moment in history, at least known history. Its associated skills are culture and mysticism, and the bonus spells gifted are Identify, Augury, Tongues, Divination, Contact Other Plane, and Vision. One of the powers from this connection that jumped out at me is Access Akashic Record, which lets you spend a resolve point to attempt any skill as if you had ranks in it equal to your mystic level. In a pinch, this could come in handy quite often, especially when it comes to using a physical skill that you might not have invested heavily in, as it's outside of your class skill list. Telepathic Memories is another one that I like, and one that you get at level 6. This lets you spend a full round action to allow you or a party member to share a memory with the rest of your group, which is not the best mechanically, but I think could have a lot of really fun roleplay implications. And I also really like the Glean spell, which admittedly is gained kind of late in game at level 18, but Glean spell allows you once per day to cast any spell from the Technomancer spell list. Now, it does cast that spell at one spell slot higher than it normally would, but it's the versatility of this ability that makes it just so strong. The next connection that we have is Empath. This connection helps you become more observant to the small details and highly in tune with others' emotions. The skills it receives are Perception and Sense Motive, and the spells it gives access to are Detect Thoughts, Zone of Truth, Clairvoyance, Mind Probe, Telepathy, and True Seeing. So some of the standout abilities for me with this connection are Greater Mind Link, which is gained at level 3. This power allows you to use your Mind Link ability on the same creature as many times per day as you'd want. Also, the communication is able to go both ways. Emotion Sense, which you get at level 6, this allows you to discern where creatures are within 60 feet as long as they are experiencing any type of emotion. Quite handy on unseen enemies. And I also really like the level 9 ability Discern Lies, which allows you to use the spell Discern Lies a number of times per day equal to your mystic level. So this would be a great theme for you to consider if you're playing in a campaign that has a really heavy espionage theme to it. The healer connection is going to be the connection of choice for those characters who are focused on keeping all of their allies up and on their feet. But this connection is more than just about healing, as it also gives your mystic a strong connection to death and the balance between the two. The skills granted here are Medicine and Mysticism, and the spells given are Mystic Cure, Lesser Remove Condition, Remove Affliction, Restoration, and Greater Remove Condition. Some standouts for me on this connection are Healing Channel, which is gained at level 1. This power lets you heal you and your allies by spending a resolve point. When using Healing Channel, you can, as a full action, heal all of your allies within 30 feet of you by 2d8 hit points. Please note that this is hit points and not just healing their stamina. And this ability increases by 2d8 at 3rd level and then every 3 levels thereafter. This may be one of the most straightforward and effective forms of healing in the entire game. And the fact that it continues to scale with you as you level will also keep it relevant all the way to cap. At 9th level, you get Steal Life. This basically lets you become Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat and literally suck the life force from someone. When using this power, you spend 1 resolve point and make a touch attack. If you hit, you deal 1d6 for every 2 levels of Mystic that you have to your target. You can then take that damage you just inflicted and heal an ally within 30 feet for the same amount. Now, the kicker for this ability that really impresses me is that if you don't hit, you don't have to spend your resolve point. And that, to me, is a pretty solid ability. And guys, remember, this is a very personal and intimate power. So make sure you look your victim in the eyes when you use it. It shows you care. Next, we have the Mind Breaker connection. This connection uses your raw will and understanding of the mind to dispatch your enemies. The skills you receive are Bluff and Intimidate, and pretty much any spell that would be used to mess with someone's mind. That list includes Mind Thrust, Lesser Confusion, Inflict Pain, Synaptic Pulse, Confusion, and Feeble Mind. Some of my favorite powers from this connection are Backlash, which you get at level 3. This triggers when an enemy manages to make a successful will save versus one of your spells and negates that effect. If that happens, they end up taking 1 point of non-lethal damage for every level that you have in Mystic. Mind Killer, your level 15 ability, is another great one. This functions the same as Phantasmal Killer from Pathfinder and Dungeons & Dragons, and this only requires a standard action and does not need a resolve point to activate. This means that you could get a lot of mileage out of this ability. And I had to talk about this last one because not only does it sound awesome, it is awesome. I'm of course talking about the level 18 power Explode Head. Just like the name suggests, you can, for 1 resolve point, cause a creature's with fewer than 20 hit points remaining head to explode like a grenade. And then everyone within 20 feet of the victim must then make a reflex save or be sliced to ribbons by pieces of their skull bits, taking 2d6 additional slashing damage. If a target has more than 20 hit points remaining, they instead take 1d6 points of damage per level of Mystic that you have. And if you manage to reduce them to 0 hit points, their head explodes as mentioned previously. Pretty fun stuff. Our next connection to look at is the Overlord. This connection establishes you as a dominant force of leadership, taking a commanding presence wherever you go. You'll be good at influencing others and making them bend to your will. Skills that come with Overlord include Diplomacy and Intimidation, and your spells definitely aid in the overall theme of mental dominance. These include Command, Hold Person, Suggestion, Confusion, Dominate Person, and Mass Suggestion. One of the standout powers for me here is Inexplicable Commands. This power is granted at level 1 and makes it so that after your mind-affecting spells end, the target loses any and all memories that they were ever mind-controlled in the first place. This is how most people want mind control abilities to work. So if you want to play a character that is in, again, an espionage-heavy campaign, this is a pretty neat little ability. Overlord's level 20 ability is interesting if you have game masters that like to play a bit dirty at high levels and try to use mind-affecting abilities against you and your party. This allows you to help protect and shield any ally that is the target of a mind-controlling effect, if you have an established connection between them by using your reaction to try and help them act normally. So admittedly situational, but if you ever need to use it, you'll be glad that you have it. The second to last on the list of connections is the Star Shaman. This connection channels the energies of the cosmos and dark vastness of space. The skills you gain from being a Star Shaman are Perception and Piloting. As for their spells, you get quite an array of offensive and defensive spells, starting with Shooting Stars, which functions as the magic missile spell, Dark Vision, Irradiate, Remove Radioactivity, Telekinesis, and Control Gravity. Looking at some of the key powers you gain with this connection, I have to talk about their level 1 power, Walk the Void. In short, it grants you the ability to move through the vacuum of space, and it gives you a fly speed of 20 while in space. I don't know about you, but if I get the opportunity to breach the hull of a ship I'm on and just suck everybody out into the cold dark of space while I hold my breath and zoom off to rejoin my crew, I'm definitely going to try to come up with a creative situation in which I can do just that. At level 6, Star Shaman picks up Stargazer. This gives you the ability to re-roll a failed ability check, attack roll, saving throw, or skill check twice a day if you are outside and can see the stars. I might also be a little lenient with this as a game master if one of my players could see the stars from, say, a command deck of a starship, even though they aren't technically outdoors. And of course, I also want to mention Starry Bond, which expands your Stargazer ability even further by allowing you to share it with your linked allies as a reaction at the cost of just a resolve point. If you do manage to make it to level 20 and snag the Capstone Enlightenment, this ability becomes very, very abusable. And finally, the last connection on our list is Zeno Druid. This connection lets the Mystic tap into the energies of the ecosystems around them. Your associated skills are going to be Life Science and Survival, and your extra spells are Life Bubble, Fog Cloud, Entropic Grasp, Reincarnate, Commune with Nature, and Terraform. So right off the bat, one of my favorite Zeno Druid powers is Grasping Vine, which you get at level 3. This is in essence an Entangling Vine spell, and Area Denial is always welcome. The key here is that it can be spawned from any flat surface and does not have to be a patch of earth, which makes this a very solid ability at level 3. Radioactive Resistance also jumps out to me, and you'll get access to this at level 9. Once per day, for the first time you take damage from an energy type, you immediately gain resistance 10 to that energy type for the rest of the day. And finally, one of the coolest abilities for any of the connection powers is Plant Transport. So this gives your Mystic the ability to enter into a plant that is your size or larger and exit out of another plant of the same kind anywhere in the same solar system. You don't even need to be familiar with your exiting plant. And you get to take anything that you can carry and up to 5 of your fellow party members with you. The implications here are tremendous, and I, for one, would certainly recommend keeping a green room on your starship. So picture this. You know a corrupt CEO is secretly running an android slave trade business, but you need some incriminating evidence. The only problem is how do you gain access to his well-guarded office to hack into his personal system and steal the incriminating data? Simple. Just send him a large exotic plant. Sure, his team will probably have it scanned both magically and otherwise, but it's just a rare, highly valued plant, and it looks so great in the corner. I'm sure you guys can see where this is going. Now, I'm not going to dive into spells in this video, as I'll be making an entire video dedicated just to spells, as there's just a lot to cover on that particular topic. So overall, I think that the Mystic will give you a lot of different choices in playstyle, depending on the connection that you want to go with, and that, to me anyways, is always a good sign for class design. But what do you guys think? Are you excited about the Mystic? Which one of the connections do you guys think you might be leaning towards for your first character? I'd love to hear what you guys think. Also guys, be sure to check out the video's description for a full guide to all the coverage here for Starfinder Week on the channel. I'm going to be releasing 28 videos for Starfinder over the next few weeks, so if you're looking for a place to keep up with everything Starfinder, I've got you covered. If this is your first time here and you love role-playing games as much as I do, I'd love to have you subscribe. Every week I'll be putting out new videos on GM tips, player tips, tutorials, and more, so if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, just hit that subscribe button down below and come join us. Once again, I want to give a special thank you to my sponsor, Miniature Market, for making all of these videos possible, and thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Cody, and may your games be filled with awesome memories and even better friends. I'll catch you guys next time.